Oh, there's something there we can steal. I mean, borrow. A PDF. Amazon Memories of an Expedition. The red... I can't read cursive, so it may take me a little while. The red Amazon cuculus. I don't know. This subspecies of the common Cuculus canovus is endemic in the Amazon forest and is one of the region's most brightly colored species. The male's plumage is bright vermilion white, and the female's is a little more and neutral. Habitat and foods. The red cuckoo inhabits the isolated and dense area of Amazon forest. It is reliant on the thick upper foliage of rainforest to live its lonely existence. The explorer may nevertheless have an excellent view of the bird. The animal ventures to lower branches to search the forest for Saganon grapes. The wild vines provide the birds with the majority of its food. The cuckoo is partially partial to its juicy fruit. The red who may sometimes gorge itself to fruit to the point of drunkenness. Okay. Reproduction. Like the species of the cuckoo, the red Amazon cuckoo delegates the task of raising the young. The female cuckoo scouts its territory to look out for nests. Under construction, she chooses the moment when its owners are absent to lay her eggs, generally in the afternoon. The host, meanwhile, will lay mainly in the morning. After laying an egg in the selected nest, the female will remove one of her eggs and destroy it or eat it later. The cuckoo's egg generally hatches before the eggs of the adopted brothers and sisters. The cuckoo chick will instinctively edge the other eggs from the nest. The young cuckoo grows fast. Sometimes its foster parents will perch on the back of the hungry chick to feed it. Even if the cuckoo's egg is very different to the smaller eggs, it nevertheless mimics the host egg in certain ways. Not perfectly, but just enough to be accepted by most species. Now, there is a bird that does this. I think, I know this one does, but I think there's another one that does it as well. The red, cuckoo's love of the grape could sadly prove fatal for the species. In the medium term, European settlers who had tried to cultivate the grape on the Amazonian alluvial plains have decimated the Amazon red cuckoo's population. I'm just gonna, if you want to read the rest, just pause it. Pretty much I guess I'm gonna have to feed them grapes. So that's, okay. So there's that book. So they love grapes. I don't think there's anything we can do in here, but we can take a look around. Huh. Hurry up. Look at all these books. So we gotta find some grapes for the birds.
Good day to you, gentlemen.
Tell me, young lady, to what do we owe this pleasure?
Please do be brief.
We do not have very much time on our hands.
As rectors of this university, we have serious matters to attend to, and our time is precious.
I have heard you wish to meet the owner of the train that is currently in your station. May I know the reason for your summons?
We are surprised that your train has not yet left, miss. The situation is most regrettable.
The rules do clearly state that trains are meant to come and go and not remain stationary at a platform.
Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
We agree then, dear colleagues, that what we're dealing with is deviant behavior.
This matter really is cause for concern.
It's a clockwork train, you see? So it needs winding up again. Unfortunately, there is no equipment in the station to do this.
A clockwork train? That's strange.
How very quaint. You mean it's some sort of mechanical toy?
You are causing a hindrance to us, miss.
I am very hopeful that I will find what I need along the wall.
The wall?
Miss, that really is not a suitable place for you to go.
Especially for a young lady.
You see, miss, we freely admit that every day we praise the existence of that particular edifice. We owe the integrity of our dear university and the fine education it provides to the wall.
It protects us from harm and invasion from the unknown.
May God protect us from what is beyond those ramparts, miss. Please believe me.
I don't have any choice. I must continue my journey.
Such a decision is a correct one since it's in line with regulations.
Thus, your train will indeed be able to leave.
And consequently cease to obstruct our station.
I haven't introduced myself. My name is Kate Walker.
Walker, haven't we already had a Miss Walker? Ethnology Masters, September 1953, if my memory serves me correctly.
Perfectly well, my dear colleague. But if I may be so bold, it was a Mr. Walker and not a Miss. It was Bill Walker, sat this June '68 exams. The impudent fool turned up for the oral assessment in jeans, flaunting strict internal regulations which explicitly state the required uniform for the occasion.
Pure incitement. It was scandalous. Sadly, we have seen worse since. Young people lack all respect of traditional values.
Tradition, young lady. One must always uphold tradition.
You see, I didn't actually intend to stop here, but the springs of my train gave up, you see?
No, not really. You mean to say you're not a student?
You arrived a little late in the term, miss. Enrollment for this year has already terminated.
But as rectors of this university, and therefore representatives of its highest authority, we could bend the rules a little, if you like.
You don't understand. I'm a lawyer from New York. Or rather, Valladolid, more precisely. My client wants to buy out an old mechanical toy factory, but its heir isn't actually dead and is living somewhere in Syberia. I've got to get to him to sign the sales contract. You see?
Not really. This is a most peculiar tale.
A kerfuffle of the highest order.
We have an excellent law school, if you should ever change your mind.
Does the name Hans Vorarlberg mean anything to you by chance?
Ah, one of the brightest, most idealistic intellects to have graced our university. Hans Vorarlberg. I remember speaking to him once. I was still a student at the time. He just stared at me, lost in thought for a while. He scarcely ever said a word. But how can one forget him?
Idealistic? I'll grant you that. But bright? Oh, don't go too far. He was completely incapable of passing any exams. All he ever did was to sit in on lessons, and not many of them either. Paleontology, mainly. He had an unhealthy passion for mammoths, which matched the state of his intellect perfectly. That is to say, prehistoric.
Prehistoric? How dare you? A little far-fetched, maybe. But he did have flashes of intellectual brilliance, comprehensible only to high-minded scholars who hold no score by appearances. My dear colleague, your hasty conclusions are somewhat cavalier.
My assessment is wholly accurate. The boy was a little odd. You must concur if my father, who was rector of the university at the time, had not shown great indulgence towards him. Hans Vorarlberg would have never attended this establishment.